Let's speak with the Director of Voter Education and Publicity at INEC, Ms. Victoria Etamesi, is live for us virtually. Thank you so much, madam, for joining us tonight on the program.
Thank you. Good evening.
Yeah. I'm without having to want to challenge your understanding or that of INEC on what campaign means, because these days, the debate between political parties and politicians could be tantamount to campaign. But what does INEC or the law describe or define as campaign? Because we need to understand what a campaign is so that we understand where the offense of early campaign comes. What is a campaign? It sounds like a jump question, but it's very important, and I'll get to the reason why I'm asking that question.
I think that is a jump question, really. A campaign is one of the provisions that political parties are allowed to take part in ahead of elections so that they can sell their manifestos and what they have to offer to the electorate. In essence, to tell the people what it is they have in stock for them when they come into office. And again, like the Honorable Chairman said, the law is now the problem because the law was not explicit on what should be done or who should be held responsible before, because the law provides that 150 days to elections, campaigns can begin and must end 24 hours to the elections, to the election day. The law again provides penalty for 24 hours to election day if any political party or candidate conducts any form of campaign. And again, that is a paltry sum of 500,000 naira. But the law is silent on what should be done if any form of campaign is conducted before the window of the 150 days before elections. The main problem here is the fact that politicians are being smart by half, because the argument is that they do not know who is responsible. They are using third-party proxies to ensure that they are put in the faces of Nigerians and the citizenry, and that is where the challenge lies.
I'm going to say this. This is just maybe those who are concerned about reframing or reviewing our laws. If you go to the United States, for example, that's why I did my fellowship. My fellowship is basically on elections. So call me an election expert and you will be very right. Now, the question here is that any campaign, for example, Bolaji Abdullahi wants to be president of Nigeria. If he's the one producing that campaign, he will say, I, Bolaji Abdullahi, endorse this campaign. Now, in Nigeria, people, like what you said, politicians being smart by half, is being anybody who wakes up in the morning and without missing words. We started seeing 2027 for Bola Tinubu on the street of Abuja and at the APC. And so the question was, is it the president that is already campaigning for himself, or his political party, or his lovers, or those who collected contract from federal government, or who? That's why I'm saying if there is a way INEC can also codify campaigns, either from the NBC point of view or from the APCON point of view or from even the commission to say, if you are putting up any campaign material, you have to put your authorization on it, or whoever authorizes it. If not, it cannot go. That's aside. Now, the reason why I ask what the definition of campaign, and it's quite important, because if I'm having a conversation with anybody in government about what they promise and the implication of on their re-election, anybody could term it as they're campaigning, but they're talking about what they have done for the Nigerian people. And that's why I'm asking what a campaign is. And this is what the Nigerian law, especially electoral law, says about campaign. It says is the activity, any of the activities conducted by political parties and candidates to promote their candidacy for elections. Very simple and straightforward. But it's also ambiguous. It could mean anything. And that takes me to the point. At what point in this period did INEC realize that people are already contravening that section of the law?
INEC is not isolated from other Nigerians. We've also seen all the billboards, all the rallies, all the promotions of the achievements by political parties, because that also is another form of campaign, letting us know your scorecard and then having weekly and monthly interviews with the press. These are all ways of remaining or staying in the faces of people. And the argument or the discourse today was that that is an unfair playing field, because other political parties, the point was made that it cuts across most, let me not say all political parties, but the point was made that any state you go to, any government in power takes advantage of that and does exactly the same thing. So it's not tied to just one political party. It's just that one in particular is much more prominent. And again, people are using incumbency benefits to their advantage, to the detriment of those who are not in office.
Now, so on one hand, if you blame the ruling parties or the incumbent candidates or persons in office, you can also blame, if you say, oh, they're talking about the activities, you can blame the opposition. But because when the opposition comes on television or radio or whatever, they tell you how better they could be, and they're not performing. So the question is, at what point, even on the media, Section 22 says, our role is to hold government accountable to the Nigerian people. How do you hold them accountable without talking about their promises? When you talk about their promises, you talk about their electability, then you cross the line of campaign. So it's a big problem, isn't it?
Yeah, and so that's also where the media comes in. Because giving undue advantage or undue prominence or visibility to just one political party is a problem. So if you want to know what is happening, then I think you should also give equal opportunities to all the political, established and registered political parties. Yeah, that may also be a problem, because if you're not in office, then you're probably you're not able to do much. So it's been between the devil and the deep blue sea. So it's actually a dicey problem, which was why the Commission thought that all critical stakeholders who have a role to play should come together to begin to brainstorm and to think of the way forward on how we can fix this problem. Because a lot of attack has been on the Commission, and the Commission isn't doing much. But our hands are tied. There really isn't much we can do until the legal framework is amended, and that would give us the powers to take action. The only part of the law, like I mentioned, was Section 84(2), which just is a slap on the wrist and does not only allows us to take action if campaign is conducted 24 hours to elections, but is very silent on what should be done to defaulters who conduct campaigns before the 150 days window. So until the law is amended, then there really isn't much that we can do, and which is why the Commission insisted that all other players, the regulatory bodies, ARCON, NBC, BON, the media, NBA, to throw insights into the issues, the legal issues, that we should all come together and then brainstorm so that we can decide or collectively agree on how to go forward. IPAC was also there because they are the umbrella body for political parties. They are the culprits in all of this. And funny enough, or interestingly enough, the IPAC chairman also was not happy with what was being done, because really it's lopsided. So even members of IPAC, most members of IPAC are also not happy because they are victims in all of this as well.
So, I mean, where some of us would disagree is where this particular provision now stand or tampers the constitutional provision of the media. Now, the fear now that people will not campaign early will now make them to run away from being accountable. That's another issue. Our job is to hold government accountable to the Nigerian people. So some people will say, I don't want to campaign, that's why I don't want to talk. I don't want to campaign, that's why we don't want to say what we are doing. And that, you know how difficult it is to even hold government accountable in this climate. Now, when there is now a provision to say you cannot do early campaign, and that's why I was asking, what is the definition of campaign? And I'll give you two different words, madam. I am the best candidate for 2027. And that's on one hand. The same person saying, whatever we have promised in the last 2 years, we have performed. Those two, do they amount to campaign rhetoric?
The first clearly is campaign. The second is shielded. It's a form of campaign. And that is why I said it's difficult for us to be able to hold them accountable, because a lot of them are being very, very smart and taking advantage of the lacuna in the law, which ties our hands and we cannot do much. And which is also why we're calling on all other critical stakeholders. Yeah, they are always in the media. And the argument or the point was made that the media, if it is public or government, the government would definitely have to do what their principal or their paymasters want them to do. And the private, they're also in business, and so they cannot throw away any good business that is brought before them. And that is again why we called on ARCON, because they are the regulatory body for advertising, so that they can do be more diligent in what they do to ensure that there's a level playing field for all political players. But again, another issue that was brought up by the regulatory body, by ARCON, was the fact that with the proliferation of media platforms, is it the new media, is it the traditional media? So if you regulate, or you try to regulate the way they play using the traditional media, how do you regulate how they play using the new media? So either way, any way you look at it, until the laws are clearly written out and spelled out, we'll just be going round and round in circles. And politicians are taking advantage of that.
Madam, there are those who will say, INEC, you are wrong. You clearly have seen these infringements and infractions, but you have kept quiet. Those who are perpetrating it are known. Their party is known. Whatever they are doing, whatever they have said is known. Why would you say you cannot? If there's an infraction is an infraction. Why does it look like INEC is afraid to take action?
INEC is not afraid to take action. I said earlier, there is a lacuna in the law. And so what do we lean on if you say we should take action based on the infraction?
No, but madam, there is no lacuna. Apologies, please. There is no lacuna. If there is no punishment on a particular infraction, it's different from the fact that the law does not talk about it. The law has stipulated that no campaign must be done 150 days before an election. So, and 24 hours it has to stop before the election. There's no lacuna. You do a campaign before 150 days, it is an offense, it's an infraction. Exactly. Let the court determine the punishment for such a person. So INEC is definitely wrong by saying there is a lacuna.
Fine. And so who do you hold responsible?
The party that is that is caused the infraction.
So which of the parties have you seen? If you look at all the billboards, they are promoted by third-party proxies. And so who do you hold responsible? I think recently I saw, I think it was the president who said he doesn't know. But then how do you say you do not know? And that is why we're holding on, or we're calling on the regulatory body, the advertising regulatory body, because whoever put up those posters must have made some form of payment. And so we cannot say we do not, or that they do not know them. That is outside of our purview. So the law for us states that candidates or political parties, but now candidates are denying that they don't know anything about it. Political parties are denying they don't know anything about it. So who do you hold responsible?
So now madam, so I agree with you to that extent when someone says they use my name and I'm not aware. Yeah, and they use my name a lot on social media to do so. AI generated, whatever. People use my name, if I said something on television, I ask a question, someone quoted something totally different that I never said. And I'm wondering if I was the one who said it. It happens, and we understand. But the question right here is that, have you held any political parties whose logo, people have started campaigning for President Bola Tinubu 3 months into assuming office? It's embarrassing for the president, and I'm not sure the president is the one who did it. Right? And if anybody had done it, if I've held the president who is a candidate of the party at that election, and the political party responsible. Let them now be the one to pull it down and say, look, because the question is that there are those who are saying INEC is complicit. If you are keeping quiet and looking away, there are party logos, there are names of candidates that are being mentioned. Why not hold those people account? That's why they're thinking you are afraid and you are complicit.
We're not afraid, and we're not complicit. We can't keep going around town to bring down billboards. The regulatory bodies, the advertising regulatory body should do that because they put the boards out in the first place, or they authorized or allowed the boards to be put out in the first place. INEC had no hand in it, and so we can't keep going around town to bring down boards.
But you can hold those people whose names and parties are doing campaigns. Because people are already saying vote so for 2027. Because look, he will come to equity, let's say, must come with clean hands. INEC, to be believed in 2027, should be able to show cause that they are not biased and can speak to anyone and call. INEC is a regulator of all political parties. All political parties get their licenses, their permission, their authorization to operate from INEC. Then INEC is their mother and should be able to call everybody to order. So, I'm charging INEC to be able to take action right now to say, if you see your name there, we will call you and you be the one responsible to go and fix those things. That's one of the things that people are saying.
During the last consultative meeting that the commission held with the political parties, this issue was put on the table, and their attention was called to the fact that they were going contrary to what the law stipulates. Like I said, INEC cannot keep going around town to bring down the boards, which was again why we decided to bring together the stakeholders, critical stakeholders that have a role to play in this discourse and this infringement, so to speak, to put their heads together to decide, to come up with actionable plans on how we can address this issue and situate blame where it should be situated. But the main issue here is that we are limited by the law for now. And if the laws are not amended accordingly, there really isn't much that we can do. The regulatory advertising body can do much more than we can do. The media, that was why we invited BON there and NBC, so that they also will play their part. So nobody is coming out smelling of roses here. The media is culpable, the regulatory advertising body is culpable, and so if you want to put the blame on INEC, then you have to spread the blame around, because all of us have one role or the other to play to ensure that political parties are held accountable.
Trust us, we will partner with you. We will help to be able to achieve your aim in sanitizing the field so that no one will feel left out or no one will feel precluded in the scheme of things. But thank you, madam. Before you go, what is happening with, you've settled the matter of ADC, but what about the Labour Party?
What's wrong with the Labour Party?
Who is the authentic chairman of Labour Party?
That is in court, so we can't comment on that.
But that of ADC is confirmed, David Mark.
Yes, it is.
All right. Miss Victoria Etta Messi, the Director of Voter Education and Publicity at INEC. It's a pleasure having a conversation with you tonight. Thanks so much indeed.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. Madam Bolaji Abdullah is with me in the studio. But we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about his political party leadership, the recognition by INEC on his website of the David Mark Adegbeshola leadership. Gets us talking after that, everyone. Join us again.